Okay, guys, let's look at this question right here. It says determine the indicated values, okay? So first, let's find the value of x right here. Now, if you look at this picture, to find x, we first know that this is a parallelogram because you have two sides, two sets of parallel sides that are opposites. We have two pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. So we know it's a parallelogram, first of all. And next, if we know it's a parallelogram, then we know consecutive angles, which is this x and this 112 here, are supplementary. So basically, x is equal to 180 minus 112, because we know 112 plus x must equal to 180. That's, the definition. So we know these two must add up to 180. So to find my x here, I'll just do 180 minus 112, and this will give me my answer here as 68. Now let's look at the next one. Let's look at the angle y. Angle y is right here, okay? To find my angle y, I know opposite angles of a parallelogram is congruent. So if the opposite of y is 112, then y will be 112 because they have the same angle measurement. Let's look at how to find z. Well, z is right here. We know opposite sides of a parallelogram is going to be congruent. So therefore, to find z, we just look at its opposite sides, which is right here. So this means z here will be 10. Okay, now let's look at the next one. Well, it's asking me to find the length of CD, which is right here. Well, let's look at if this side have opposite sides, which we do, which is 8. So this will be 8. Okay, look at the next one. Let's find the angle measurements of D, this right here. Now, if you look at it, you realize that, let's see if we can find the opposite or consecutive angles. Do I have any opposite angles here? Well, I'm not given it, so I cannot go this round. Let's say if we were giving consecutive angles. Well, we do. So this means that these two angles must add up to 180. So this means to find D, I'll just do 180 minus 35. That will give me my C here as 145, and that will be my answer for this question. Next one. So let's look at question C. We're first asked to find my angle measurements of QUA. So it's talking about this angle right here. Now I realize that this is also a parallelogram because we have all those parallel lines. Now, if you have these parallel lines and you have a transversal that go through it, you realize that this angle that you're trying to find are actually alternate anterior angles with this 50 right here. This means that they will have the same angle measurement. So this gives me my measurement here as 50. Okay, next one. Let's find my angle measurements of QUA, which is this angle right here. Well, does this angle have a consecutive or opposite angles? Well, it does have an opposite angle right here, which is going to be 115. So this means that this angle right here that I'm trying to find will also be 115. And this is how I find my answer. Last one. Well, let me go ahead and label everything that I have so far. This is 50. This is 115. Now the last angle that I'm trying to find here is my angle UAQ, which is right here. Now if you look at this right here is a triangle, right? And I know all my angles inside my triangle must sum up to 180. So if I know two of the angles are 115 and 50, to find my missing angle right here, I'll just do 180 minus 115 minus 50, and this will give me my angle measurement right here as 15 degrees. Let's look at the next one. Well, looking at this angle, let's first try to find what's my angle measurement of W. Now, if you look at W, you realize that next to it is its vertical angles. These two are considered vertical angles, so this means that they will have the same angle measurement. So this means W here will be 75 degrees. Let's find my X, but let me first label this as 75, okay? Now, in order to find my X, now if you look closely at this, you will realize that in order to find my X here, actually, let me find another one that's easier. Let me find the Y first. If you look closely at it, you realize that this Y here is actually supplementary angles with my 75 here. So this means this whole thing right here must be 180. So to find my Y, I will just do 180 minus 75. This will give me 105 as my angle measurements for y. Let me go ahead and label it. So this was 75. This is 105. Okay. Now let's find z. Okay, I couldn't find x yet. There's not enough information for me to find x yet. So let me first of all find z. Okay. Now, if you look at z here, you realize that this is actually a triangle right here. All triangles, angle measurement is 180. So to figure out z, I'll just do 180 minus the angle I already have inside, which is 75 and 50. This means my z here will actually be 55 degrees. Let me label 55 degrees. Now, once you have your z, you can find your x. And you know why? It's because if you have parallel lines like this, and you have a transversal that go through your line like this, it makes this angle right here and this angle right here actually alternate interior angles, meaning they will have the same angle measurement. The last question on 9.1. So it says AE is equal to 12. Let me label it. AD is equal to 16. BD is equal to 9. And we're asked to find all the followings. It first asked me to find EC. Now I know if it is a parallelogram, then diagonals bisect each other, which means, if you remember, which means this segment and this segment will be equal, this segment and this segment will have equal length. So if AE here was 12, then this means my EC here will also be 12. Okay, now let's look at the next one. It said, what's my length of BE? Now I know BD all the way from here to here was 9. I also know that DE and BE had the same length, which means they are having the same length. So this means to figure out the length of BE, I'll just divide it by 9.5. That will give me what this is. So this will be 4.5 and 4.5 for ED. Okay, and the last one here says, what's my length of BC? Well, this side right here. Let's look if we have opposite side. Well, opposite sides right here. So this means my length of BC here will be 16. And that finishes this lesson.